It's Neil. Welcome back to another episode of Diary of a Franchise, where I deep dive into building MaidThis into a national brand with over 100 locations. We're starting at 40, although we have a couple new locations coming in, so that'll bring us to around 42. I'm excited to share what I'm working on this week. Now, I'm changing up the format a little bit about these podcasts to try to make it a little bit more interactive. So, someone on my team named Steven, I call him Benjamin Button because this guy literally does not age at all. I've been working with Steven since I think 2018, 2019. So, he's been with MaidThis for a long time. He handles a lot of the communications, a lot of the YouTube stuff, a lot of just dealing with franchisees and their community marketing, just all around or with everything. And so Steven's here with me on the podcast. Steven, good having you, man.
Hey, great to be here.
And so Steve and I are just going to riff because he knows everything I'm working on. So we're just kind of going to go back and forth about what exactly is a day in the life right now and what are we going to talk about for the Diary of a Franchise. So Steven, what's on your mind about what to ask?
Well, you alluded to it. You were talking about a new cohort launching. So when is that happening? How many people are going to be part of that?
We have about two new locations and one transfer. So there'll
Are
be
you
three
allowed to
people
tell us
starting the
where?
cohort. Until they're actually, I'll tell you the general state. So we have
Okay.
a Nevada, we have a Virginia, and we have the transfer. I'll go TBD on that one. So a
TBD.
transfer
Okay.
means someone's buying an existing Made This location and joining the system, so they get to go through Made This University as well.
Yeah, I think that's not our first in Virginia, but I think is that the first in Nevada?
That is, that is.
And were
Yep.
there any crazy laws that you had to go through?
No, Virginia, there's laws. Nevada is no laws. So franchising is like, I think there's 13 specific states where you have to get registered. We don't do California, New York, or Washington for those specific reasons because those states are insane with how to do it. I can say that because I'm from California,
I
right?
would
So
say
like,
I
yeah,
already is made this started in California.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So those are three states we're not franchising in. Everywhere else we could get registered and do that kind of thing. But yeah, there's 13 specific states where you have to get registered. Nevada's not one of them. So that's good.
So the new cohorts coming in, they're part of an ever evolving way that made this looks at franchisees.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I think you get asked a lot, probably, and something you deal with on your discovery calls when you're first talking to somebody who's expressed any interest in the system is what's the avatar and where did it start and sort of how it started, how it's going, that meme.
Yeah, I think the yeah, the avatar from Made This has constantly evolved. So I started thinking about franchising in 2019, officially launched in like end of 2020, and so since then it's been through a lot of iterations. And Stephen, I don't know if you remember, but you wrote the first copy for the Made This franchise website. And at
Hmm.
that point, if you remember, our copy was all around, okay, let's go find more Neils because I did it. And so I was like, all right, well, the most logical step is let me go find more people like me. At the time, I was doing a lot more digital nomad stuff. So all the copy was around focusing on digital nomad crowd. That means people who want location independence, want to work from anywhere in the world, value the travel freedom of it. That was my unique angle and my thought going into it. So that's probably where we originally started. And then that the other aspect of me, since I was trying to copy myself, is oh, I did this as a side hustle. Therefore, I'm gonna find people who want to do this as a side hustle as well, because I did it as a side hustle and I was a traveler. Sick. Those are the two things. Let's go after that. That's our unique selling proposition. And that's what we're going to do. So that was the origins.
And obviously, you found out there weren't as many Neils. I think that's the funny thing is I think your estimation was, well, I did it, therefore there are other Neils. Turns out there's not a lot of Neils out there. And then turns out this is even though you did do it part time in a franchise system, you wouldn't necessarily teach people to do it part time. That yeah, it was possible you did it, but there's a difference between it can be done and it should be done slash best practices for a franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't even say it's because like I'm a special snowflake and I did something lucky. In hindsight, like, yeah, it took me a long time. Like, the first year I did like $18,000 in revenue. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. The second year I did like $80,000. Like, I was going stupidly slow. So, in hindsight, like, do I want my franchisees to go that speed? Do I even want them to go twice the speed of that? No, I want them to go way faster. So they can't repeat what I did. That was a big thing. And that, like, the first thing to go, honestly, was like, no digital nomads because digital nomads are like, hey, it's just the mentality of nomads where they're like, hey, I want to automate stuff. I want to run it from wherever. I'm not going to physically be in the location. There's a lot of shiny object syndrome going on, right? Where they start something, stop. That's just the avatar of nomads. So the first thing to go was, I can't do the digital nomad crowd. This is not going to work. They don't even live there. They don't, they get squirrel vision a lot. That went away. Then I thought, okay, fine. It's going to be we're keeping the side hustle part because I thought that was the unique angle compared to other franchises locations. Okay, we'll keep the side hustle part. We're going to go after people who want to quit their job, start this as a side hustle for however long they want. Some of them might only want to make a couple thousand a month, and that's okay. You could stay as a side hustle forever. That was the second avatar we went after letting go of the nomad crowd.
As these are going through, how is this being forced on you? Are you having failures with franchisees? Are you having struggles in training? What's forcing you to iterate?
I think the nomad crowd was speaking with them and realizing that, hey, I don't think this is going to work. So that one was before any nomads fully started. The inquiries we were getting was just like, this isn't the right crowd. People didn't have money. They wanted to start on a shoestring. It just wasn't going to work. We started to have more people come in who wanted to do it on the side. And I will say a lot of them did work. Like we have people in our franchise system right now who are part-timers who only want to do part-time, who want to keep their 9 to 5, and it works because they're freaking killers, right? So it's not saying that this is something bad or anyone in the current system I wouldn't let in. That's not true. There's people we've let in the last year who I'm very happy are part of the system, even though they're doing it on the side. But in general, I don't want that to be the global. Everyone comes in as a side hustle, right? If there's outliers and stuff, that's okay. And I found that that's okay. But what I found is honestly the struggle of people, some of the early people who are now gone, of them launching. And in this business model, especially when you start any new business, Stephen, you and I talk about this a lot. There's a massive amount of motivation when you start. That motivation can wane if you don't hit certain revenue thresholds. How you re-up on your motivation juice is like you keep hitting new money milestones. Now, if you're doing it as a side hustle, you're gonna go slower. So if you don't get your motivation from something else, you don't have a strong why, you don't need the money, whatever, it's going to take you longer to hit certain revenue thresholds. And then you lose that motivation juice and you just never really launch. So what I saw was some locations started with the best intentions. Life just got in the way. They got a promotion. Everyone was work from home. They had to go back to the office. They had a second kid. So all of a sudden, it wasn't just that the business became second place to their family. It became second place to their primary job. Then, of course, their family, their primary job, and then this. And if it's third place and it's a brand new business, it's just really freaking hard, right? Like you're battling a lot of things here. So I think it was just like seeing quote unquote the failures that people are not growing as fast as I want them to. Now I remember speaking with a mentor of mine at the time, Josh Latimer. I was like, hey, side hustle audience, I think would be a good niche to go after because other franchises aren't going after the side hustle audience. Therefore, I want to be different because that's what we offer and other people don't offer that. And he was like, Neil, if I had to get 70 franchises and I was capped there and I could have 70 full timers or 70 part timers, I guarantee I could tell you which one I'm going to pick. And as he said, of course, the full timers, right? Because they're just going to grow faster. I think I was just scared because I was like, to convince someone that like, hey, this works, do this full time was scary to me. So I came at it with I want you to be safe. I want you to start as a side hustle if you're comfortable with it, because I want you to be comfortable because of whatever reason. Like, not that I didn't have conviction in the business model, but I didn't want to be responsible for someone doing something they didn't really want. Like, there's a fear of like, hey, look, I'm responsible to make sure they're successful. It was scary to me. And I think that's why I held on to the side hustle part for so long.
Well, and the life happens thing, I think, is particularly poignant for you now. You're 2 months, 3 months as a new father, and now
Mm-hmm.
you know firsthand. I hesitate to use the word disruptive when it comes to a child, but how, let's say, life altering having a child can
Yeah.
be. And now you know from the inside if someone in the system has a child and then that changes their management of the business or it changes the way things go, you know that way more now than before you were a father, what the dynamics of that are. And that's nobody's fault, you could say. It's just they didn't know. You didn't know before you were a father either.
Yeah, exactly. And things happen. That's not saying like if you have a kid, you shouldn't start a business. Not at all. In fact, I think it's a great focusing mechanism because you just have limited time. So therefore you focus on the highest value stuff. But there's things I think now, like especially with the new cohort coming in, that I just kind of know like this is what we need for someone to win. And we have so many wins now where there's people coming into the system. I see what they're doing. I can start drawing like threads of commonalities of personality traits, their life situation, things like that. Now things catch me off guard. But generally, now that we have enough locations, I could say, yeah, these are the factors I see that are in common with the successful people. And now we screen mostly for those.
So if we started with the, how it started, how it's going,
Yeah.
we started with part-time digital nomad. If I
Hmm.
were to ask you, we're recording this in the middle of 2026, what would be the summary now? Just the brief one. Instead of saying part-time digital
Yeah.
nomad, we would say,
And I'll qualify this by saying it might change by 2027. Like, who
all
knows?
right.
We keep evolving. But currently, we say you must give full time effort. meaning in the first year to 2 years, that doesn't mean like guaranteed 40 to 80 hours a week. That could mean at least 30 hours, but you're flexible. You could drop your kids off to school and whatever, but you have to give full-time effort. If you have a job and you're like, I have this engineering job, I'll work on this nights and weekends. No, not going to work. Not going to work anymore. You have to have full-time effort on this completely, either with a, like, I won't even say either with, like, rare situations you have a hyper flexible job and will allow it. Most times it's someone who has like dual income household, one person works, the other person decides to go straight to entrepreneurship, but they still have kids, so they have some obligations. They can still do this fine. That's great. I love that avatar. Eventually they can go part-time, but at least a year to 2 years, give me that a full-time effort and get to escape velocity. That's the avatar. Now, there's some people who, like an average avatar I mentioned, dual income household, one person has a steady job, one person wants to get into entrepreneurship. The other one is people who are used to freelance work, real estate brokers, Airbnb hosts, sales-based commission people or commission-based salespeople. These people understand the ups and downs of business and understand how to hustle and get out in the community. So those people, like we have people who are real estate agents and also own and MaidThis franchise. Incredible, right? Like I think they're so complementary in skill sets that those are okay as well.
Well, what I want to get into on our next episode will be the complement to that. So if you've identified high level, this is the avatar, then it would be what are some of the qualitative, the intangibles that you're looking for and how
Mm,
that has evolved over time. So I want to talk about that in our next episode. But thanks for giving us insight into the incoming cohort.
amazing. Thank you, Stephen.